I'm Barry. A Henson handy tip for today is how to use a poly joiner correctly. You'll notice the pipe these days is not as flexible as it used to be, a lot harder to work with, and it is quite hard. One way of opening up the pipe so you can get the fitting started easy is to do this with a screwdriver, just wind it out. Obviously heat helps on the larger pipe. With your nut wound right back, just push the fitting in as far as it'll go, and you should feel the nut biting into the pipe within the first couple of turns. And then of course, not too much, you don't need too much, a couple of winds with the pipe tongs, and that's as much thread as you should see once you've got the nut wound out. That won't come off. For any more information, just visit our website hensonproducts.co.nz.
The Wharaki Whānau Trust farms Waiwai Tutukai 10, a 71-hectare dairy unit near Te Puke. Rehua Smallman is the chair of the trust and talked to us about the process of running the farm as a trust and the importance of getting the basics right.
Now, the Wharaki Trust has a very interesting history. Can you tell me a little about that?
I've been involved in the trust since 2009, but prior to that, the actual farm has been in existence as a dairy farm for about 30 years. But it had been leased out, prior to that for that amount of time. The lease that the last lease that the farm was operating under, the person that was the lessee couldn't continue for the next 10 years of his lease. I think it was 10 years, and he had to give it up. So we took it on as a trust because that was part of our strategic plan anyway. Prior to myself coming on as a trustee, the former trustees had said that they wanted to take the farm back and run it, themselves.
And the trust, it involves a small number of families, doesn't it, originally?
Yes, it's originally our great-grandmother owned the land and was passed down from, generation to generation from her family, which is, all of us really, in a sense. And she had 5 siblings, and the families that are owners in the land are descendants of those 5 siblings. And in terms of the trustees that are on the current board now, each one of those families are represented by one of the whānau that's a trustee.
The size of the property, has it grown over the years, or it was originally this size farm?
Well, I think originally there was 2 actual blocks that are involved in the farm, and they were amalgamated. That was prior to myself coming on board. Sort of going back to 2009 when the previous trustee lessee actually gave up the lease, we had to purchase, or we didn't have to purchase his stock, but it sort of made sense.
What sort of development has gone on around the farm? Has there been improved fencing or laneways?
There has been not a total amount of improvements in terms of fencing, but we've got a program that's trying to improve our laneways, reconstruction in terms of pumice and stuff, and that's been ongoing. We sort of do a bit every year. At the moment, in terms of our strategy, that's one of them, but obviously try and improve the farm overall wherever we can. But the number one factor at this point in time is just to try and reduce debt and get that at try and reduce it to a more manageable level, so we can put a lot more improvements into the farm.
What about pasture renewal? Are you improving pastures at all, cropping here, going back to grass, or?
Yes, in some parts of the farm we do, but we've also got we've also been lucky enough to lease another bit of land just 2 kilometres up the road, and that's been a godsend really in terms of having as a runoff to run our young stock there, or replacements, and there's been some sort of grass replacement there, and in some areas of the farm as well.
And when you're talking about replacements, what's your usual replacement rate in the herd? Are you trying to keep that quite low, just in order to be maintaining your stock?
Yeah, it's just mainly just maintain those stock numbers. You know, at about 198, 200 cows at this point in time. We have sort of got, in terms of a long-term strategic plan, we're sort of looking to try and acquire, possibly a neighbouring property if one comes up, just to try and increase our acreage and hopefully increase our herd numbers in terms of that. And just to try and meet our long-term strategic vision. Yeah. This country is obviously it's quite ley-line and it has been prone to flooding over the years, but we've had a bit of work done on our drainage systems and trying to improve that. And one of the big things in terms of the trust is we're sort of very conscious of the fact that the farm is quite near to an estuary where we've sort of traditionally fished that area for generations in terms of shellfish, etc. And we're very environmentally conscious in terms of that. Obviously, minimise or nil waste into the waterways wherever possible. So
After the break, we catch up again with Doug Leader and discuss some of the important challenges and solutions facing Māori dairy farmers. See you after the break.